Yo everyone, how's it going? And welcome back to another video and another race reaction for the 2021 Turkish Grand Prix this weekend. And yeah, what a decent race we got. It wasn't as good as last year, obviously, with the whole rain. It was still wet, obviously, for this race, but not as quite as much hype as it was for last year. But I mean, there were still lots of interesting talking points and lots of interesting things strategy-wise. So let's get into my race reaction for the Turkish Grand Prix. So let's kick it all off then with Mercedes and Valtteri Bottas absolutely dominating the Grand Prix, has to be said. Obviously, Lewis took pole, but Bottas got pole because Lewis had the penalty, and then literally just led from start to finish, flawless. Had that little moment in turn one, but pretty much apart from that, there was nothing else that was really going to stop him winning the Grand Prix unless he made any more mistakes. Obviously, in the past, especially this season, we've known for him not to be great in the rain, especially last year at this track as well. Obviously, I think he had 6 spins during the whole Grand Prix and finished like 14th. It was one of his worst Grand Prix, or if not the worst Grand Prix he's ever had in his whole career. But yeah, no, an absolute dominant performance from Valtteri Bottas, and also taking the fastest lap and the full 26 points as well. And Lewis Hamilton as well, obviously, like I just mentioned, got pole position, started 11th after a 10-place grid penalty after changing his ICE, as they call it, internal combustion engine. But yeah, you know, he tried to make his way back up as quickly as he could, finished up in 5th in the end. And obviously there was that interesting moment where people were wondering if Mercedes made the right decision of pitting. When I was watching it live, I was like, I don't think they've made the right strategy call here. I think Lewis could have gone to the end. Obviously, he's the one driving the car, so he knows how the conditions are, but you just don't know when those tyres are going to blow. And obviously, when you're in this championship fight, as close as it is, I don't feel like Mercedes wanted to risk Lewis losing all those points. So I think it was the right decision in the end, and I feel like Lewis should, well, I think hopefully he's realised that by now. So next up then we'll do Red Bull, Max Verstappen in 2nd and Perez in 3rd. Once again, a bit of a boring race for Max Verstappen. Red Bull, though, over the whole weekend didn't really have the pace, it seemed, and I was looking at some podcasts and stuff and some reviews of the Grand Prix, and normally this is the point of the season where Red Bull sort of come into their own. This is where they sort of start taking over the season, but obviously I think it's because in previous years Mercedes was stopped development because obviously they've already sort of won the Constructors and won the Drivers' Championship, but obviously it's a completely different turnaround this year, and I think we're seeing Mercedes continuously develop and just get stronger. But I mean, you know, it is also maybe track dependent as well. I mean, we've had the last 2 races now have been sort of wet and damp and tricky, so yeah, it's hard to say at the moment. But yeah, Max Verstappen in 2nd, quite a lonely race, and Perez in 3rd as well. Once again, he didn't have a great qualifying. I think he finished in 7th in qualifying, and then he did a fantastic job in the race. Obviously did that fantastic defence move on Lewis Hamilton halfway through the Grand Prix, and I actually just wanted to talk about that real quick as well. Obviously when they were going down towards, I think it's turn 12, sort of like the last 3 corners, obviously got that long left-hander. Obviously Lewis went around the outside and then obviously sort of pushed Perez wide. But what I want to know is if, well, the FIA, no one really sort of mentioned it at all, but he actually went beyond the pit lane. He went beyond the bollard. So to me, that classed as like corner cutting or gaining advantage because you're extending the track, a bit like the white lines. Obviously, the white lines were sort of the beyond the point that you could go on the track this weekend. But I don't know. I just thought that was a bit odd. I don't know why the FIA didn't even mention it, or no one sort of mentioned anything at all, really. I just thought it was a bit weird. But yeah, no, the whole bollard thing with the pit lane is weird. We've seen it in previous years, and it's just all confusing. But yeah, no, good job from Perez nonetheless. So next up is Ferrari. We'll do Charles Leclerc, who finished in 4th place. Quite a good race from Charles Leclerc. He had quite a good qualifying as well. I think it was a bit unfortunate that he didn't have the pace to really fight the guys ahead. Otherwise, I think he could have got a podium. But yeah, no, can't take nothing away from him. He did a fantastic job all weekend. And Carlos Sainz as well. What a great race from him. P8 from last on the grid after taking all those penalties and engine changes. Yeah, really, really good job. And I think he got driver of the day as well, which I think it was his first driver of the day that he's had in his whole career. So it's really, really good from Sainz. So next up we'll do AlphaTauri. Pierre Gasly ended up in 6th place, and quite a good result from the Frenchman. Obviously having that moment in turn 1 with Fernando Alonso as Perez sort of went down his inside. There were sort of 3 abreast. It's an awkward turn 1. But to be honest, I think the penalty was very harsh. I heard that the FIA redeemed it as Gasly's fault because they felt like he wasn't sandwiched when Gasly said he was. I don't think Gasly was sandwiched. I still think it was a racing incident. I don't think the penalty was deserved at all. I feel like it's turn 1, heavy fuel, cold tyres, the track's damp, and with that sort of turn 1 as well, I feel like there's not an awful lot he could have done. I know he still had some room and maybe he could have done something, but to me it was just a racing incident. I don't know how you guys see it. Let me know in the comments, but I think it was a bit harsh in my opinion. But Pierre Gasly in 6th with that penalty as well to finish in 6th is just fantastic. So a really, really good job from Pierre Gasly, and once again just proving that he's an absolute talent and definitely the most underrated driver through this whole season, it has to be said. And Yuki Tsunoda as well, finishing in P14. I think he had a spin at some point during the race, but again didn't really show much pace, unfortunately. And yeah, another disappointing weekend for Yuki Tsunoda. So next up is McLaren. Where were they this weekend? Absolutely nowhere to be seen. Lando Norris finished in 7th place. Didn't really do much in qualifying or the race. Just sort of a quiet one for McLaren. And Daniel Ricciardo having that horrible qualifying, has to be said. I think he was down in 17th place and only managed to claw his way back up to 13th. So a really disappointing weekend for McLaren, and it's meant that the Ferrari have sort of closed the gap once again. So that, I think that title fight as well is going to come right down to the wire. So that's really, really good to see. But yeah, a very disappointing weekend for McLaren. So next up is Aston Martin. Lance Stroll finished in 9th place in the Grand Prix, taking more points for Aston Martin, it has to be said. Really good job from him. Sort of a quiet race again, didn't really see much of the Aston really. And Sebastian Vettel, what a mess up by Aston Martin. Obviously halfway through the Grand Prix they put the medium tyres on when everyone started sort of pitting for new inters. The whole weekend was so weird with the weather. It was just so uncertain what the weather was going to do. But yeah, they decided to put mediums on, which was one of the worst decisions I think has been made this season. Yeah, Vettel had no grip at all, spun like 3 times on track, and also spun on the pit lane entry as well. Just a dismal Grand Prix, and yeah, like I said, finished 18th place. So next up we'll do Alpine. Esteban Ocon finished in 10th, taking the last point for Alpine, and yeah, just didn't really see much of him either, to be honest. I think we saw a little battle with him between Vettel or one of the Aston Martins, I believe it was. But yeah, picking up a point still, I think it's still good for Esteban Ocon. And like I said, Fernando Alonso, his race was completely ruined at turn 1, obviously getting that contact. I don't know if he pitted for new tyres, I'm not too sure, but nevertheless his race was completely ruined and he finished in 16th place. Another team that was sort of nowhere is Alfa Romeo. We didn't really see much of them either, but Antonio Giovinazzi and Raikkonen picking up 11th and 12th place for the team, so very close to points. If there was any DNFs or anything, I think they probably could have squeezed into the points maybe, but yeah, no, a strong performance once again from Alfa Romeo. Again, didn't really see much of them, and same with Williams and Haas really. We didn't really see much of them. George Russell managed to get into Q2, ended up in P15. Latifi finished in 17th, again, didn't really see much of him, didn't really have the pace. And Mick Schumacher and Mazepin, once again, nowhere to be seen, but no DNFs, so it's quite incredible. So there we go, guys, for the race reaction for the Turkish Grand Prix. Like I said, it wasn't the most enthralling race of the season. I think it's one of the sort of lackluster Grand Prix, but I mean, like I said, there were still loads of talking points, and I feel like this season we've been treated so much for so many good races that we can't really complain too much about bad races, because I mean, this has been one of the best seasons I think in Formula 1 history so far. Obviously we've got to see how the last few races go, but I think this championship honestly is going to come down to the wire. Obviously we're going to America next race, so, and obviously Lewis is quite good there as well. He's won quite a few of the races that we've raced there, so hopefully it's a win for Lewis, and hopefully he'll be able to regain the championship lead. Come on, Lewis, let's go. This championship is getting really, really intense, and it's absolutely flying by as well. We've only got about 6 races left. It's absolutely flying by, but hope you guys have enjoyed this race reaction. Like I said, as always, let me know what you thought in the comment section. Give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel if you are new as well, and I will see you all again in the next one, guys. Take care.